During the 6th week, the 20 standing committees continued with their work. They had started the previous week, but of course you know that they couldn't end because they had a lot of issues to discuss. So, as usual, the 10 committees were meeting at NJI, while the remaining 10 were meeting at a Nikon Luxury Hotel, Abuja. The most important committees were the devolution of powers, the national security, religion, and I think political restructuring and form of government. As usual, journalists kept vigil at the venue of the Committee on Devolution of Powers because that was a committee that was discussing the resource control, the issue of resource control. Like I said earlier, well, the issue of resource control was one of the major issues, you know, that made the conference, the 2005 conference, to end the way it did. And so everybody was looking at the Committee on Devolution of Powers, you know, that is where things will happen. And truly, the previous week, the committee was divided into two. The northern delegates wanted the issue of resource control to remain in exclusive legislative list, while the southern delegates wanted it to be moved to concurrent list, whereby both the federal government and the state governments will legislate on the issue. So the issue was item 39, mines and minerals and natural gas and all other things. But as at Monday, they were able to agree. Tuesday, they were able to agree. On Wednesday, they resolved the matter. Yeah, they resolved the matter. They agreed that states should be involved in the exploitation and exploration of mineral resources, you know, in their domains. So now, as we have it now, that issue is on the exclusive legislative list. That is to say, only the federal government can legislate on this matter. You know, but the decision they have reached, they said the issue will remain on the exclusive legislative list, but that the state should be involved. That is to say, whenever the government is going to exploit or explore any mineral resources in any state, that state government or the people of that state should be involved. That is to say that you cannot come, the federal government cannot just come into a state and begin to exploit or explore any mineral without involving the state. And so it is not on concurrent list, but it remains on the exclusive list. But the state will now have to, because that clause that state should participate will have to come into that exclusive list when the constitution is going to be amended. And now, if that is the case, it is very likely that if federal government is going to do anything, they might also, the federal government might also ask the state maybe to bring personnel, you know, or to bring some money. I don't know how it is going to be done, but in a way, you know, or somehow, the states are going to be fair. Maybe if for instance, if they find, oil is found in Kogi State, for instance, you know, the state government might be asked to bring personnel, you know, maybe employ the people of that area and all that. I think because it wasn't clarified, but that I'm just trying to explain this in my own way, because they didn't tell us how the state is going to be involved. Now, that notwithstanding, on Monday, the chairman of the national conference, Idris Kutigi, met with the committee chairman, the 20 committee chairman and co-chairman. And at that meeting, the committee chairman complained that the time given to them to work on the issues, you know, listed for them was not enough. The 2 weeks given to them was not enough. And so they requested for more time. And at that meeting, Idris was cautious. He was cautious because it said it was only the federal government that could extend the time, the tenure of the national conference. But as at Wednesday, news came out that the conference, the life of the conference had been extended. Now, given from the paper who were given, I mean, we were given a paper which we sourced from some of the delegates, and in that paper, the committee, the conference has up till July 31st to do its work. Now, but when we contacted the Assistant Secretary, Media and Communication, he said it was only the period within which the committees were to work, that was extended. And so it was extended by 2 weeks, So that caused a bit, that caused some kind of confusion. But on Thursday, the Assistant Secretary, Media and Communications, Abandon James, issued a release denying that the conference live had been extended by 6 weeks. He said the committees were merely given 2 weeks to conclude, more 2 weeks to conclude their work. And that was what happened during the week. But let me point out that some of these committees had contentious issues to grapple with. For instance, the Committee on Political Restructuring and Form of Government, they had this issue of which system of government Nigeria should operate. They were torn between parliamentary system and presidential system. But at the end of the day, as at yesterday, they had agreed that Nigeria can operate a modified presidential system. A modified presidential system in which some of the ministers will be appointed, just like parliamentary system, some of the ministers will be appointed from the parliament, while others, could be sourced from outside. And so those ones that will be appointed from the parliament will be responsible, will be brought from, to represent their constituencies or their states, let me put it that way. One other issue that came on was that of the removal of immunity clause. That is Section 308 of the Constitution, which the Committee on Politics and Governance discussed. At the end of the day, they agreed that the immunity clause should be removed from the Constitution. Why? They gave some reasons. One of them was that allowing those the president, the vice president, the governor, and deputy governor to have immunity is bringing impunity into governance. That the elected officials always misbehave because they have immunity, from being prosecuted, whether from civil or criminal offense. In week 7, the committees, because they have now the period they are going to sit out has now been extended by 2 weeks. In week 7, they are going to sit for just on Monday and Tuesday. Then they will break on Wednesday because some of the members of the conference are going to be attending the World Economic Forum holding in Abuja between 7th and 9th of May 2014. And so those 3 days that the WEF is going to meet, is going to hold in Abuja, the delegates are not going to work because some of their members are also going to attend that conference. And so they will now resume work in the upper week.